And let's talk education. And in today's chat, we're talking about the importance of feedback as it supports student learning. Now, meaningful feedback, whether in the classroom or within the home, is very important for supporting effective communication. It's important for clarifying objectives and goals that we have for learning. And it's also important because being able to give effective feedback really helps students to make sure that they're achieving whatever the goals are that would have been set. So I'll give you an example. Effective feedback can be provided from teacher to student. For example, during learning activities, when children give feedback, the teacher is able to determine the extent to which the student knows, is able to define, is able to understand, is able to apply. Also, feedback is given from teacher to administration. So I'll give you an example. At SRC Private Primary, what we call learner insights are done weekly. And what this simply means is that teachers provide feedback to administration for each student in their class, identifying the extent to which the student has demonstrated knowledge and skills relating to interpretation and application of work being covered. So you find this process of submitting what is called learner insights, it represents that feedback from teacher to administration, so that way if action is needed, if further support is needed for the child or for the educator, it can be facilitated because we know exactly what is going on, not just at the end of the term, but week by week. Yeah? Now, feedback is also facilitated between the teacher to the parent. So, for example, you might have teacher conferences, or for instance, at SRC, parents have midterm reviews, parents have end of term reviews. So it gives, other than if you schedule a meeting to discuss a particular thing, it gives the opportunity for parents to receive feedback from the teacher regarding how the child is progressing, having given enough time to settle, learn a certain level of content and so on. We want to establish how they're progressing again, so action can be taken. Feedback also takes place from the student to the teacher. Very, very important that we encourage our children, hey, when you're in school, let the teacher know when you do understand. Let the teacher know when you don't understand. Now, a lot of parents tend to encourage their kids, let the teacher know when you don't understand. But I want to encourage you, mummies and daddies, to be mindful. It is equally as important to encourage your child to communicate with his or her teacher when they do understand. Because every child is different. Every child learns differently. Every child has their own tweaks and kinks that you have to work out for them. And so when, for instance, a child lets a teacher know, Miss, this worked really well for me, we break through even faster because we help the teacher to know, hey, I know when I'm dealing with John, this is what I'm going to do. And when I'm dealing with Sally, that's what I'm going to do. So it's not only about communicating when you don't understand, but it's also very healthy when we can encourage students to communicate when they do understand, because both are equally as important. Feedback also takes place from the student to the parent, and might I say from parent to the student during family chat time, whether it's in the car on the way home from school, whether it's in the family room where we're sitting, or we outside in the yard and we're sitting and we're talking. It's important to have conversations with our children, not just conversation we learn today. You understand the work, and no. That can't be it. It must be more than that. It must be about a dialogue that encourages healthy conversation, so the child can open up about the nitty-gritty, if we were to put it that way. Because when we're able to go deep into conversation and really have family chat time where we share not just the logistics of what happened, but what we thought about it, how we felt about it, it opens the door to so much more, and to even build that parent-child relationship, so that when it comes to academic learning and all general other experiences within the home. You have a portal for open dialogue because we encourage open dialogue. Now, feedback also happens parent teacher. And this, of course, could happen at those midterm reviews, end of term reviews, other meetings. And keep in mind, parents, just like I was saying, that feedback about what is working is important when the child is communicating with the teacher. Same thing. Healthier relationships are built when parents communicate not only the challenges that they observe or are experiencing, but we also communicate with our teachers what is working. Remember, just as we want to build the child, we want you, the parent, to be built, but we want the teacher to be built up too. We want the teacher to be encouraged. We want the teacher to be empowered. And if when we talk to our child's school teacher, it's always a negative conversation. And even when we observe something good, we never take the time to reach out and say, hey, miss, I just want to say thanks because, I noticed you started doing this and I'm really seeing, Jonathan responding well. You might be surprised at the wonders that little conversation would do. Positive interactions between parents and teachers, parents and principal, parents and administration is, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is. And administration, school administrations have their part and parents have their part. We must all come together, because when we come together with the emphasis that says it is about the child and we're about making this relationship the best it could be for the child, hey, you would be surprised at how evolved things would become and how student achievement could skyrocket just because we're not pulling and tugging, but we're coming together to have conversations even when we don't agree. Can you imagine that? Yes, we might not always agree. Parents don't always agree with teachers. Teachers don't always agree with parents. That don't mean that we have to not get along and have all this negativity. No, we want effective feedback. And part of effective feedback sometimes is about acknowledging where there are shortcomings, taking responsibility, and allowing ourselves to be held accountable. Nothing is wrong with that. And it applies on all ends, from the educator, the teacher, the student. And so it's important that parent-teacher, teacher-parent relationship, let us be intentional, even as we prepare to be in the new school term, to build positive relationships. And of course, parents to add school administration. And that is equally as important, because parents, not every time the school administration needs to reach out to you means it's something bad. Oh, I don't want to hear from them. I can't take the stress. No. And school administration shouldn't only reach out to parents when there's a challenge either. It is an equally mutually beneficial exchange. Positive relationships. Let's Chat Education today, in talking about feedback, is encouraging positive relationships. Because when, even as an administration or as a parent, you have to reach out to administration, we want to be intentional to recognize, what is my end goal? Is my end goal to make my point and to tell you what I think? Or is my end goal to say, how do we overcome this together? Putting it that maybe there is a challenge. How do we overcome this together? School, this is what we could do. This is what we're not able to do. Mommy, daddy, this is what we could do. This is what we're not able to do. And we figure it out together. Guys, life is not perfect. Life is not perfect. Nothing is life is perfect. But when we come together with the I'm looking for a word. I don't want to say with the intention, but with that great motivation to say, with the priority, that is the word I want to use here now. When we come together, making the student need the priority, we will always be able to put all else aside and engage a communication experience that will do just that. Place the student need as priority. So all of these points of feedback are necessary in order to inform instruction. What do we mean? We spoke about informing instruction in a prior video, where when we talk about informing instruction, what we're really talking about is being able to make decisions about how we engage learning, how we teach, how we help students learn. Feedback is important in supporting this so that we could ensure that students are able to learn effectively in a positive environment and using methods that are most appropriate for him or her. Yeah? So I want to encourage you, let's be intentional about hitting all of these different points of feedback. Because when we do that, we're able to support student learning, support student development, and make this, in some cases, 5 years and 7 years, a good 5 years and 7 years. So this has been Let's Talk Education. I hope that the information shared was helpful. It gave you much to think about. And I would encourage you, sit and think about these different points of feedback mentioned. Teacher to student, teacher to admin, teacher to parent, student to teacher, student to parent, parent to student, parent to teacher, parent to admin. We talked about 8 points of communication. And ask yourself, have I been intentional about building my feedback through these points? And maybe if you could look at past and say, not really, I probably dropped the ball here and there, then sit and start to make plan, have a goal, be intentional. Because this could be one more thing that you could sharpen in your tools and your approach as a parent or as an educator to be able to make student learning increasingly effective. So thank you again for viewing this edition of Let's Talk Education. And if there's any particular topic you'd love for me to be able to touch on, comment below in the comment section. Like the video, share with persons that you think would benefit. It's great being able to share in these chats with you guys. Have a good one.